stage my very good friend, one of the funniest people in this goddamn country, the lady called Mr. Keith Hazelando!
Keep it going for Ken Whitskoll, everybody. And yourselves. He's the best, one of the best comics in the country. Everybody hates the fucking country right now. I'm gonna switch mics because they wanted me to use the far mic. Already good for the DVD.
How we doing? Good? Are we good? All right. One more time for Max Friedman, my good buddy. Broke the mic stand. I'm doing well. This is my favorite part of comedy right now is looking to see what people bought because that is my only connection to money. I don't have it. I'm at the. I didn't bring my wallet, like at all. I just didn't bring. Like I see it every morning, but I'm just like, that's fruitless. I'm not gonna need that shit at all. That's just gonna bring me into an embarrassing situation when people find out that I use receipts to look like cash. People are like, "Damn, Keith, you're balling." I'm like, "This is debt. This is a maxed out credit card in paper form right here." No, that's a joke. I can't get a credit card. I don't have existing credit. I remember I was excited. I told one of my buddies, I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm about to get a credit card for $500. He just goes, "That's a pathetic credit level." And I was just like, "Fuck you. I have 14 cents in the bank. So that $500 that's not mine would come in handy." I'd pay off my gas bill and be in double debt like an American. It'd be great. Yeah, I have no money. I couldn't afford something that was $2 recently. That's when you have to go back and regret a purchase you made earlier in the day. Like, son of a bitch, I shouldn't have bought toilet paper today. Horrible fiscal decision. I could have wiped with a notebook for the next week. It's paper, baby. Just gotta watch them sharp corners. And we could still have these 2 bills. That really was my attitude when I moved out of my parents' house. You mean I have to pay for food? Fiona Apple was right. This world is bullshit. Do not want to be a part of it. It's a hard 1996 VMA reference. I'm still, when people are on board with that, I'm just like, all right, it still works. I'm gonna have to start coming up with a new problemed female musician to start referencing. Just like, what's up with Norah Jones? Is she sick? Is she angry? What's up? No. She's just in love. So yeah, fucking broke. I couldn't, like, I got a new phone recently. That was the big purchase I had to make. And I had to. My previous phone broke. I had a Cricket phone. If nobody's aware with the Cricket company, it's the phone company heroin dealers use to do their business. So I had one of those, and it wasn't working. And I was just like, hey, this phone's fucking up. And the lady gave me the look like, yeah, you know it's one of ours. It's what's wrong with it. It's a Cricket phone. So I had to go to another company, and I bought a $300 phone, which again, I told my friend, I was like, I got a $300 phone. They were like, that's a really cheap phone. I'm just like, get out of here. You talk to me like a college graduate in my fucking house. So I bought this nice phone, and it's jaded me towards technology because my generation were really excited about something called the technological singularity. And it's when man and machine are gonna meet and you could prolong your life through some sort of fucking computer. It's not gonna happen. It's a nice dream. If it does, only rich people you hate are gonna live on forever. It's gonna be Bill O'Reilly and everybody else. And we're all gonna die of cancer. Like it's gonna get us, guys. So so everybody's all about this singularity, and I'm not, because I can't afford to keep my Cricket phone operational. And even on the slightest singularity technology man level, like if they end up just having people like, oh, I got my hand cut off, I get like a robot hand. Like I just know there's going to be a point where my friends don't hear from me and they come to my house and I'm just stuck in my kitchen like, dude, Cricket shut my legs off. I'm fucked. I woke up for breakfast and they cut me off. Had to have it in by midnight. I paid half the bill, so they kept my knees on so I can do this. Other than that, I made the joint payment, so all the joints they're operational. I don't like it. I hate going to bars because of the money thing, and I don't really drink anymore. I haven't drank in 2 years. No, don't clap. I'm not sober. Very high right now, and I've done more cocaine in this last 2 years than I have my whole life. It's been an adventurous time. I had to quit drinking. I have anxiety really bad. Like the last time I drank is when I realized that I had to fucking stop. I got super hammered, and throughout the night, I thought I lost my wallet. And I started crying. Because the wallet, little backstory on this wallet, it was a gift from a girl who had dumped me recently, like 2 years before that. So I was raw, man. I still had some brand new feelings popping forth. So I thought I lost this wallet, and I was fucking being a real bitch about it. I was just crying, and I was blacking in and out, though. I don't really remember all of the night. And the thing I remember most, though, is I came to, and I was sitting underneath a train stop that was being rebuilt, so they had like blocked off the road. So in my head, I'm just like, oh yeah, crying room. They go cry at this intersection that they've kindly marked off. They knew. And I just remember looking up because I heard people yelling my name. Not my name. Heard people yelling Keith, strangers. They knew me. Who knows? Maybe I had talked to them for hours. I don't know. But they were like yelling up. They're just like, hey! Go cry in your room, you queer. You know what? And those are construction workers. They're in the union. You listen to them. So I did. I went home crying, and I woke up the next morning to a series of texts that was just like from my roommate, Facebook posts that I had made, and the text from my roommate said, hey man, are you okay? And then underneath that it said, by the way, your wallet's on the couch. And I was like, yeah, man, I think it's time I got over that wallet anyway. Plenty of wallets on Tinder. I am an anxious boy, though. I'm better left just like, I feel so comfortable just like kind of being nowhere, you know? Like that's where I feel not anxious. The perfect example of what I'm best used for is the apartment I live in now. I've lived in for 7 years, and for the first 4 I was like squatting. The landlord didn't know I lived there, which apparently is illegal. It's not cool. We can't just chill. I pay some rent. So I used to have to like pretend to like, first couple times the landlord would come visit, I had to like, oh, I'm just visiting, I'm their buddy. And then like the 4th time they were like, dude, you have to not be here when she comes. But I just don't, it was early in the morning and I just didn't want to get out of bed. I was fairly depressed at the time. And I remember telling my roommates, dude, just put blankets on me. And I'll just be blankets, man. And it fucking worked. Well, like it was, I remember I felt the heat of my landlord like next to me. And like I remember like, holy fuck, like this is the greatest thing I've ever done. This is great. Pretending to be nothing is the pinnacle of my life. Felt great. But I was relieved that we got away with it. And but I wanted to have a backup plan. So before she came, I went to my roommate and I'm like, dude, what are we gonna do if she catches me? And he thought for 5 seconds and he goes, all right, dude, if she catches you here, I'll just say we're fucking. And I'm just like, why? That's so many lies you could have told in between that. I thought of 12 in the span that you were. And he was like, cuz dude, it's like, you know, it's like the future and shit. She's got to be cool with our man love. And I'm like, yeah, she can be upset. like she has to be cool with our gay love, but she can still be pissed that I'm living here. And now you've thrown me into this like gay roommate shit. I don't have the fucking charisma for that. All right? I'm blankets. I've established what I am. Just let me be blankets. That's the best analogy for my personality I've ever come up with. I'm soft and warm for like 4 months, and then you gotta throw me the fuck off of you. Start cuddling with other blankets, you know? You know, I'm a nice blanket. I'm anxious. I don't like going to bars, really. Which sucks for this job because I do it mostly in bars. And when I'm on stage, it's fine. Like, there's a lot of people in here, but you're all looking at me. And, like, I forced you. It feels great. There's a lot of power up here. I feel invincible. But when I walk into a bar and nobody's paying attention to me, you have to earn your friendship. And that's when I fucking panic. Because bars, there's music playing, people are screaming at each other. And what my anxious brain tells me when that happens is that everybody saw me coming around the corner and we're just like, all right, he's on his way. Let's pair up and start without him. It's like musical chairs with friends. I'm left out every fucking time. It's bad. It's in those moments where I miss being a fat guy. And I'll give this a little more context. Over the last 5 years, I lost well over 100 pounds. I used to be very round. Thank you. But I miss it now. Like, I miss that part of my life. Look, when I was fat, people referred to me as a teddy bear, and they cheered when I ate. It was fucking great. It was a wonderful life. And then I lost all of that, and I feel like people have no context for me now, where it's just like, oh, you know Keith? He's depressed. He's just a normal guy now. You also find out the fucking truth when you lose a shitload of weight. Like, people my whole life were just like, oh, you're a bigger guy, Keith. You look great. Don't worry, you wear it well. And then when I actually lost weight, people were just like, you look fucking fantastic. And it's just like, what about before? And they're like, oh, we were just maintaining the friendship. That was pure lies. But you look hot. You can take it. So you can take our deceit because you look better. So I miss being fat in like social situations like that where I'm anxious because I feel like it's more socially acceptable to be anxious in public if you're bigger. And just think about it. If you go to a bar or a party and you see a larger person off to the side kind of seeming anxious or sad, whether you think you're a total dick or not, your first reaction is like, yeah, obviously. It's a fat person at the party. They're here to be the nicest person and to tell us what album this Vampire Weekend song is on. It's an important job, and I crushed it at that job. Because if you put that same anxiety in a more slender frame, your first thought is, who brought the fucking murderer to the party? This guy is going to murder us all or start scream singing Vampire Weekend later. And we don't want either of those things. I have a hard time explaining this to people, though, when I talk about how I, like, kind of miss my fat shield that I could just, like, go away. Because people always go to the vanity aspect of it. They're always just like, oh, you look so much better. Why would you want to go back to being fat? And then they, like, bring in sex. Like, you probably didn't get laid that much when you were fat. And that's 100% true. Total fat virgin. Didn't touch a lady while I was large. But here's the thing. Like, so much changed about, like, my physical appearance, my confidence. I did get a little bit more confident, but the one thing that will never change is that my brain will always fuck with its shirt on. You gotta keep those emotional man boobs at bay. You don't want your daddy issues flopping around when you're trying to please a lady. A lot of my anxiety comes from, like, I have mad sexual hang-ups. Like, I was a late bloomer. I didn't kiss a girl until I was 25. And I didn't fuck a girl until I was 26. And that is the order a good Christian boy does it. Just a little bit earlier. Yeah. Here's the thing about that, though. Like, I was a virgin until I was 26. From the age of, like, 17 to 23, it's so fucking stressful because everybody you know is fucking and talking about it. Holy shit. And like, so that you just have to lie. After 23, people just assume you're an adult, so you can kind of just go be a weird virgin. And that's where being fat comes in handy. You can't be a skinny virgin. People pick you out right away. Get this murderer laid before he builds a bomb. So yeah, it's fucking super fat. I didn't fuck till I was 26. Nothing changed. I thought it was gonna change my life. I was just like, I'm gonna fuck and I'm gonna be a real boy. This is gonna be awesome. And nothing changed. I had sex at 26. The only thing that changed is that 3 months later, I turned 27. It was the only thing that was different. And I'm not, like, I found out so much about like my sexual nature. I've been fucking for like 4 years. I'm 30 now. You know, I've been getting work done, guys. I've had sex with 6 women, guys. One of them a bunch. It was my ex-girlfriend. I'm not over her, so we're not going to talk about that. Still a raw nerve. It's going to take 2 years. We heard the wallet story. That's what I found. Like, I'm a relationship guy, 100%, and that does not bode well for how the dating culture is now, because it's just a hookup culture. Like, I feel like I have to just give people a warning, like if I'm on a dating site, it's just like, look, my name's Keith, and if you're not careful, I will text you every day. Like, so just fucking be warned. I can't hook up, and that's like the main shit. Like, I tried to hook up with this one girl. I get so anxious. Like, sex startles me sometimes. I can't. I tried to hook up with this girl off Tinder, and she was real kinky. And it was like, I'm not. That's one thing I found out about myself. I am not kinky. I like sex, and like, I just can't. It just, I can't do it. I'm getting fucking not. I'm like losing my boner, and I don't even have one. And I'm just thinking about it. I can't, so I just get and I hooked up with this girl, and I knew right away, like, she's into some shit. She fucking has mad calf tattoos. She rode a bike here. She's into some shit. She reads all sorts of books and manuals. So I hooked up with this girl, and she wanted to, like, role play. And I was not on board with it. Like, it was one of those situations where I was like, look, either I'm going to nail this role or I'm going to fuck you. But it's not, both things aren't going to happen. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a performer. But you gotta give me my role. Don't fucking confuse me. Can't improvise with a boner. What are you talking about? I didn't take that Second City class. So I couldn't operate. And it was very embarrassing. She had my not hard dick in her hands, and she was like looking at my dick and my eyes, and then she was just like, "Are you nervous?" But here's the thing, like, she wasn't making eye contact, and I was already fucking freaked out, and because of the role playing earlier, I kind of got startled and was just like, holy fuck, does she want me to answer her as my dick? And if so, do I talk in my voice? My normal voice? I'm kind of scared right now. This isn't really a dicky voice. Do I bring it down lower a little bit? No. You don't want to make your dick sound black. That's dishonest and racist, Keith. And then by the time I came to, she was gone, and I was watching Planet Earth on Netflix. Just thinking about life. I'm not kinky at all, and I feel bad about it because that's the new shit. Like, it's the new. I feel like being kinky is the new being vegan. Like, one day you found out that one of your friends likes anal sex, and you're just like, well, now I gotta download all these podcasts, get into this weird shit, and fucking call my friends not sex positive. That's what. I gotta get super into this. And I just like, I can't even, because I'm not kinky, and I can't talk about my friends with it because nobody else, like, I was trying to talk to my one buddy. I was like, dude, I'm trying to date and like hook up with girls, and a lot of these chicks try and do shit with your butt, And he just cut me off and he goes, talk to me 4 years ago about butt stuff. I'm like, really? You're gonna be a hipster about this right now? This is my asshole, not a Modest Mouse demo. Just fucking be a friend. I found out how unkinky I was. I hooked up with this girl and I called her like 2 weeks later. I was just like, hey, would you like to hang out again? And she was like, yeah, it sounds fun. But I don't think we should hook up again. And that's like an adult moment where you're just like, cool. It's, 50-50 shot that we get along. You weren't into it, but you want to hang out. Cool, we won't have sex. But as I was thinking all that rational shit, I was saying, why? And right away, she was just like, no. Like, she got so defensive, and she was like, it wasn't bad. And she goes, but if I'm being honest, which are horrible words to hear, nothing good is going to follow that. They had to, like, painfully fight for it. If I'm being honest. She said it was a bit regular for me. And to inject some humor into it, I was just like, are you trying to say I fuck like a dad? And she just paused, and she goes, yeah! That's how I describe it. So apparently I fuck like I gotta get up early in the morning. You gals are into that. I'm single. Slinging this dad dick from 4 to 8. I gotta put the kids to bed. They do not stay asleep if the bed's pounding against the wall. Gotta put these kids to bed. I'm even weird in sexual situations that I'm not in. And that makes me sound way fucking cooler than I am. One night I was walking home, and there's a bench by my house. And on the bench this night, there was a dude, and he was fingering this girl. Tight. Like, that's just a moment where just like, you're like, all right, this is life happening in a large city. 3 million people in the city. This is happening on at least 4 other benches in Chicago right now. Has to be. Just go home, Keith. Certainly remember this. But go home. And I just started staring at him. Like, not even in a way that, like, I planned it and I'm behind something. Like, I just was startled. Like, I stumbled upon, I was just... And I realized that the reason I got startled is because it reminded me of when I was a kid, instead of telling me about sex, like with his words, my dad called me into the living room and he was like, hey, big guy, do you want to know how babies are born? And I'm like, totally. And then he just played porn. And then he didn't even narrate it. He's just like, all right, sit back, big guy. You're going to learn. 2 things. Number 1, you're scarring me for life. Number 2, that is not how babies are born. You've horribly misinformed me as well. Now you've left me a sexually repressed boy who is incredible at foreplay. You really do excel at the things that scar you, It's true. But so I thought of all that when I was watching this dude, and I snapped out of it because he yelled at me because I was like 8 feet from him. I was very close. I was uncomfortably close. And he was just like, hey man, what the fuck are you looking at? And he didn't stop fingering his girl, which I appreciate. But I realized in that moment that I had to just kind of own being a pervert. Because it's not like I could have been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, sir. This just reminded me of an awkward moment I had with my father. I will go home and masturbate to this. Excuse me. But I felt ashamed in that moment. I carry a lot of shame with how not sexual I am. Because I'm all for sexual freedom. I'm all about if you're fucking wild, fucking tight. I envy you. So when I was walking home, I made a deal with myself where I was just like, all right, Keith. Fucking next carefree sexual situation you're in, just do and say the weirdest shit that comes to your head. Fuck it. And then 3 weeks later, I was at a bachelor party in a town called Brooklyn, Illinois. And when you're in a small town that's named after a big city, you can do whatever the fuck you want. There's no rules in that town. So I was in this strip club, and it was the kind of strip club where you walk into this building and you're just you break the threshold and you're just like, someone's been murdered in here. There's death in these walls, and that lady is twerking with a beer bottle in her butt cheek. This is gonna be wild. Southern Missouri at its finest. So I was there, and this lady was doing her job to me, and we were kind of like hitting it off. I knew she had liked me because I wasn't paying anybody for dances, and she kept coming over to me and dance. So I was just like, I'm clearly the nice boy in the strip club. And she was like dancing on me all night, and then at some point she leaned back and she goes, hey, spank me a little bit. And I was just like, all right. So I reached up, and I was coming down to spank her, and as my hand was coming down, I remembered the pact I made with myself. I was like, this is it. Carefree sexual situation. You don't even fucking know this girl, Keith. Like, you know she has stretch marks, but you don't know her. There's no consequences. So say it. Like, this is it. Say some weird shit. So my hand came down, it slapped her ass, and then I looked up with the most confidence I could muster, and I just went, your butt cheek is cold. And I was just like, all right, I'll see myself out the door to the strip club, I guess. I was very embarrassed. So yeah, I'm also very white trash. It's another source of my shame. I'm so white trash that I've smoked crack with my dad 1.5 times. Now, that one time, it's just like, get over yourself, white privilege. But the half is what makes it like, oh, this was a thing. The half is the first time I smoked crack, technically, with my dad. And I only consider it a half because he wasn't with me when I did it, but it was for sure because of him. Like most white trash parents, he just left drugs out. Like, I didn't even know weed got you high until I smoked it. Like, growing up, I was just like, okay, every 2 hours, mom and dad smoke the tinfoil cigarette. And then they go to work. This is life. And then around 7th grade, I took a hit off of the bowl my dad would keep next to the chair. And I was just like, oh, man, this is incredible. I'm going to do this every day. And he knew what was going on. Like, years later, my dad came bursting into my room, and he's just like, Keith, I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to be honest with me. I know you have been doing it, but did you hit that bowl that was next to my chair today? And I'm like, holy fuck, he finally caught me. Yes, I did. I'm not going to lie to you. And then he just cut me off, and he goes, there was crack underneath that weed today. But here's the thing. He didn't say it in a concerned tone. Like, he wasn't like, holy shit, like, you didn't smoke crack. Like, let's get you to the hospital. He was more like, there's still some left, right? Like, he was just pissed that it might be gone. So that one's on me. That's my bad. The second time, he was just straight up like, do you want to smoke crack? All you had to do was ask. And then, before I had time to answer, he ripped the antenna off a radio. He hollowed it out, he filled it with crack, and he just put it in my hands. And I was just like, holy fuck. 3 hours ago, I was just a sophomore in high school. And then this is some real post-9/11 shit happening right now. America changed, and I probably won't ever forget this. So I took a hit of crack with my father, and my brain vibrated in the most literal sense I could ever describe. It shook real hard in my head, and then all the sound in the world started going wow, 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 wow. When it was traveling through my head, it stopped on the bridge of my nose and then shot out of my left ear real hard. And that made me nauseous, and I ran outside and I started throwing up purple foam. It might not have been purple. I was extremely high on crack. But it was foam. And I'm throwing up, and I see my dad come out the corner of like my eye, and to which I'm thinking he's gonna be like, oh, are you okay? Like, but he hung his head out our front door and was just like, yeah, that's when you know it's good shit. So my dad introduced me to hard drugs and then for sure called me a bitch when I couldn't take it. I always get anxious when I lead into these stories about my dad. Because I don't want people to think that he's like a horrible dude. My dad's a good guy. He was a good dad. He just liked to get high with his boy, you know? Can't fault him for that. And like he's like, here's the thing, he's dying, so I kind of won in the end. It's the most natural causes he could have ever wanted. He died partying. It's fine. But like, so here's what's funny about that is he needs medicine now to like live. Like it's flipped. But he still thinks about it all so narcotically. Like his brain is still linked. And he shows me his medicine like he just picked up from around the corner. Like I'll go over and he needs inhalers to breathe. And he'll show them to me and he'll just be like, you see this guy? It's aight. I have to take this like 8 times a day. And then he throws it away and he pulls out this box and he was like, this big ass inhaler, this is regulation fucking ball. I only need this if I'm like dying. Then he takes it out of the box and takes a hit of it and I'm just like, whoa, your eyes dilated. Can I get a hit of that? Is it good? Can I try? Remember, we're running out of these father-son moments. He's fine though. I don't like he had to stop hanging out with his friends because he's sober now. And that was another weird like thing to wrap my head around. Is like his health was really declining and they were like, dude, you gotta stop. Like drinking, doing drugs, smoking, everything. And he did it. And I remember when he was like, he was doing well. And I've been like, when you grow up with a parent that's an addict, you just don't, it being over isn't ever in your head. Like you don't think it's ever going to end. You're just like, well, I got to deal with this. And this is how I dealt with it. If I'm being honest, I started doing comedy, started telling stories about it, and it made it all funny. And that's how I dealt with it. And so then when they told me he was getting sober, I like sat down and I'm like, how do I feel about this? And then I remember my first thought being like, that fucker couldn't have waited till I had an hour? Been talking for 7 years about how you're a scumbag. Now you're gonna turn around on me, you asshole? Fucking not cool, Dad. It's fine though. But so he can't hang out with his friends anymore because he's sober. And that is like bittersweet for me because I loved watching him interact with his friends because they were weirdly all my age, like early 30s, late 30s, people that I kind of related with. And they always wanted him to do Adderall all the time. Like they poured a mountain of it on our kitchen table one time and he just looked at it and he goes, I ain't gonna do any of that future shit. Like that's how my dad's judging our generation based on the drugs we do. Of like, you millennials with your prescription drugs. Back when I was your age, we weren't lazy. We actually had to go outside and find our own madness piece by piece. And then he assembled crack and cooked it in front of me, and I'm just like, they really are the greatest generation. Never had to work that hard for anything in my life. But like I said earlier about like me kind of giving my dad a break, like he was fine. My dad used to just like smoke crack and watch TV. Like his friends fucked me up way more than anything because he just like, he was off in the zone watching Andy Griffith and they were just wandering around my house. And you notice like levels to crack addiction. Like there's early onset crack addiction where people are like smoking crack in your house, but they do not want you to know about it. So just like, and they'll make up the worst lies. Like I remember this one dude, he was like, he came out of my bathroom and there were like 9 people. There was condensation on the walls. They had gotten down. Like they were, and I was doing my homework at my kitchen table and he dangled a bag of white powder in my face and he goes, this is not cocaine. This is rock salt because I got my lip pierced today and it helps for the swelling. And I'm just like, all right, dude, like I'm just studying for a test here. I don't care. And then there's veteran crackheads who don't give a fuck. They'll just burst into your room at fucking 3 a.m. like, hey bro, are you using these light bulbs? Because we need to make a pipe. And you're just like, all of them? And you're just, whatever, bro, any of them. And you're just like, yeah, they're on, so I'm using them. And they're like, all right, bro. But crackheads are relentless. Like, they don't take no for an answer. Like, that guy went into the living room. My dad called him a pussy. And then he went back into my room like, hey, bro, I get that they're on. Do you need them? Long story short, give the crackhead your light bulb because they will cut up your golf clubs. That is a way more expensive fix. His friends were wild. Met some weird people. I've been, like, most of the shit is fun. Like, I just had a lot of casual conversations with crackheads. Just people cooking crack. Just like, so how's your mother? Like, she's great since the divorce. It's fantastic. Just like, oh, fucking, how's school going, little guy? And you're just like, oh, I don't really like it. And they're like, yeah, I didn't like school at your age either. And you're just like, I love school. You have scared me straight, sir. Like, crackheads will just talk to you, and they'll smoke crack while they do it. It's like they don't even, it's just a part of their life. I remember this dude, I was chilling with him. My dad was like at work. My dad would just like, that's the thing too. My dad, I would watch him smoke crack all week, and he would go to work and then just leave me with his friends. I remember this one. It would suck for like if I wanted people to come over. Like, because I had to usually survey to see if some fucking crack wanderer was in my house. And like, it'd be fine usually, but sometimes like, someone would slip by and there'd be like a bunch of people and they'd come out shell-shocked. Like, Keith, you're aware that there's 4 fairly large men at your coffee tables, like smoking crack, watching porn on Fast Forward, right? And you're just like, yeah, that's my dad and Uncle Joe. He thinks his sister's a cunt, and he comes here every day and talks about it. And they just do drugs. So I was talking, there was this one dude, he was a good friend of my dad. He'd come over all the time. And he was talking to me, and he was just like, did your dad tell you I'm on disability, Keith? He was real jacked about it. It was clearly the reason he was there. And I'm like, yeah, dude, what's wrong with you? And he just took a long hit of crack, and he just goes, I got an enlarged heart. So I'm just going to settle down for a little bit and quit drinking soda pop, you know what I mean? And then he picked at the floor for a half hour. And that's when it hit me that nothing positive has ever followed a hit of crack. Like, you're never going to see someone take a hit of crack and just be like, dude, I totally got a promotion at work today. Upper management, man. Can you help me find my girlfriend's engagement ring? I know it's around here somewhere. It's just like, no, you sold it and she left you 3 years ago. Where have you been? Get into reality. I've met weird people. It's usually fun. There were some weird, like, sad situations. Like, one time, there was something that made me pretty sad. I was chilling in my house, and I was going to the bathroom, and the same guy, the disability guy, he was there, and he was like, hey, Keith, you see that van outside? And when you hang out with crackheads, you're trained to just be like, yeah, it's not a cop. And he's just like, yeah, I know it's not a cop. It's my fucking van. Just bought that today for $300. It's got seats in the back. My dog loves it. I could sell that shit right now for like $1,000, but I won't. Because I love it. He said it wistfully like that. And it made it emphasize like how bad he wanted that van. And then it made me sad because I was just like, he started out a child with like dreams. Unreachable ones, totally. But like, he wanted to be a pro athlete. And then you get to like high school and you're just like, I'm not a fucking athlete. But I like sports. I like talking about sports, like writing about sports. Maybe I'll go to like college for broadcasting and journalism or something. And I could like do that. And then he goes to school. And he's like, fuck, I did it. And then he's just like, man, college is expensive. So I got to get a summer job. And he gets a summer job doing construction. And at that summer job, he meets a white guy named Blackie. And Blackie does a little cocaine. You know, you got to get up early when you do construction. So you got to do a little coke, to wake up in the morning, you know? So he starts doing that, and then like Blackie's like, hey, I'll sell this to you. And he just starts buying it, and then he gets super addicted to it. And he's like, I can't afford this shit anymore. So he's like, all right, here's crack. Cheaper, same high. 30 years later, he's staring down the barrel of an empty crack pipe in my dad's trailer, just like, fuck it. I want a van. And he got that shit. And then 2 weeks later, it got taken away because he didn't get plates. So, register your dream, guys. You gotta get it on paper, or else they will take it away. Gross people. I've met gross people because of my dad's life. He lives in a trailer park, and so there's this dude he hangs out with, and they call him Craigslist. His name is Craig, and he just has shit all the time. So they were just like, Craigslist. And he smells like shit. Awful, and he pisses on himself all the time. He's just a dirty trash person. But he always has beer and shit and coke, so people hang out with him. They put up with him. They stay at a distance. They snort his cocaine. But my dad is mean to him. Like, he tortures him. And I feel weird all the time. And I was driving him around at his trailer park, and we saw Craigslist, and he was vacuuming his mattress outside, like with a big vacuum. He had a cord going from the house, and my dad hung his head out my car, and he's just like, "Hey, Craig, did you piss the bed last night? Is that why you're drying it off?" He was yelling it. He wanted like the whole neighborhood to hear. "Did you piss the bed? Is that why you're drying off your mattress? Because there's piss all over it?" And Craig looked up. He didn't stop vacuuming, and he just goes, "Yeah." Like, we're assholes for even implying it. Like, yeah, I'm drying piss off of my mattress because I pissed the bed last night. What if I want to piss on the bed again tonight? I want to do it on a dry bed. I'm not a monster. There was this other time where we had a birthday party for my dad, and we were meeting at the local VFW in town. And if anybody here knows what the VFW hall is, it's where veterans of foreign wars drink. And in the city, they're very popular. Hipsters go there. Fake IDs work. They let you smoke inside usually. It's a hang. In the suburbs, it's just filled with veterans from foreign wars. And so we were going, and outside most VFW halls, there's like a marquee that's like, fish fry on Thursday. And on this time when we were walking up, the marquee said, "Rest in peace, Rat Tail." And I'm like, all right. Patron of the establishment perished, and they are celebrating him, and I laughed audibly, because that's a hilarious name to put up. And then I look back at my dad, because my dad's got a sense of humor. He's a funny guy. And I'm like, I wonder if he's laughing at old Rat Tail kicking the bucket. And then I look back, and he was kind of upset. And I'm like, what's up? And he just goes, "Fuck, Rat Tail died?" And you're just like, shit, I think he knew Rat Tail. Who raised me? And you're like, who the fuck's Rat Tail? And he's like, you remember Uncle Randy? And I'm like, fuck, I knew Rat Tail. Yeah, he taught me how to throw pennies in a jar from the living room. That's an important hustle when there's strange men calling your mother a whore from the living room. I've been thinking about stepdads a lot lately. You guys have been great, by the way. I'm going to get out of here in a few minutes. Give it up. Give a hand for yourselves for coming out. You're hair-bearing witness to my dreams, guys. And it's over after this. I'm done. This is the height of my fame. Get this bitch on Amazon Prime and 2 people will watch it. It'll be great. So I've been thinking about stepdads. For obvious reasons. But I had one. And he was a huge disciplinary figure in my life. If I'm being honest, he was kind of an asshole. And growing up, I never understood why. Because I'm like, you're a stepdad. I always thought stepdads, it's like a co-pilot of a plane. Like, you're dressed like a parent, but you ain't flying dick, dude. Like, you're here to be a little drunk, wear sunglasses, and say funny things into the intercom. Like, there's no responsibility. As a real parent, it's just like every moment of your life is just like, we have to be dedicated to this kid. And as a stepdad, you're just like, hey, I'm Phil, and I thought your mom was hot for an older chick. That's the only reason I'm here. So my stepdad met my mom, and he was just like, fuck yeah, co-pilot. I don't have to do shit, but I get all the credit for being a parent. And then he got into the plane, and he looked over, and he saw my dad, and was just like, motherfucker, I'm going to have to land this plane. And then he thought of a little league that he was going to pay for, and he's the one who caught me jerking off in 6th grade. And I'm just like, yeah, this was not supposed to be you, Jerry. I'm sorry. Thank you guys so much!
Let's keep it going for Keith Pagel, everybody! Guys, thank you so much for coming out. Check out, let's give another hand to Chicago Underground Comedy for doing this. Check them out every Tuesday. This is in conjunction with Stand Up. Check them out every Thursday at Whiskey Business. And it's another hand for Beat Kitchen, too, for coming out and letting us do this. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Be safe.